Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister is a thriller book. I didn't know much about this, but a popular booktuber that I really have a very similar taste with, Books with Emily Fox, recommended it. I think it was also chosen for Reese Witherspoon's book club, and one of her other books was Where the Crawdads Sing. So sometimes Reese Witherspoon latches onto a very popular book and it gets really big. So this one is about Jen. She is a lawyer in England, I believe. And she has a family. She's got her husband, Kelly, and a son named Todd. However, one night before Halloween, a couple nights before Halloween, she witnesses her son do something shockingly violent. And it's going to ruin his life, basically. So, you know, as a lawyer, this is definitely going to, you know, rock her world. However, when she goes to bed and wakes up the next day, it's the night before. And she's sort of like, you know, wondering if the events that happened were a bad dream, but every time she goes to bed, she wakes up further in the past. And that's sort of the main concept of this thriller. Every time Jen wakes up, she finds herself going backwards in time, and she's able to look into it more and basically has to put together the pieces of the puzzle to find out why her son did what he did and what she can do to try to fix it. So the concept is pretty great for this book. Starts off okay, you know, you got your characters, you set up your concept, but then most of the bulk of this book is her experimenting every time she goes back a day. So you know, she could, if she wanted to, she could do something crazy and like pull out a kitchen knife and start, you know, stabbing people and threatening people to find out immediately. But, you know, society, she's not sure, you know, what her actions will affect, and she doesn't want to like end up in prison and then like go back in time a day and then mess things up. So she can't really experiment too much, but she can play sleuth detective and like, you know, try to glean more information from other people. And that's the bulk of the story. That's the intrigue. It's fun at first because you're given little pieces of a puzzle and you sort of have to try to assemble it together. However, the book sort of gives away the main answer about halfway through. And you're kind of like, oh, okay. And then from then on, the book became a drag, to be honest. They think they gave it away way too early. And then by the end of the book, I was getting bored because everything else just seemed a little perfunctory. You know, we already know what they give you the answer. So you're kind of like, oh, okay. You know, kind of like the same way if you build a puzzle and you see the grand picture, you know, that's it. You know, the puzzle's done. You're really not going to stand around too long looking at the puzzle completed. So this book is very similar. The strengths of the book, I would say, it has a couple of emotional parts that were really great. Jen having moments with her father before he died was really good. It reminded me of the movie About Time. But other than that, though, the book honestly just didn't rub me the right way. I mean, I still finished it, but it was like a slog. I was doing the audiobook, and the person did a great job, but it just... After that halfway point, I just found myself not wanting to listen to it, and I honestly took the full 3 weeks to listen to it. I literally just finished it like 3 days before I had to go back. So the pacing, it wasn't the pacing that was the issue, it was the way the story was set up and divulged at the halfway point. So, you know, I also didn't like the ending too. The ending was really... I don't know, it just didn't feel earned or anything. It just comes out of left field. This whole book just feels kind of like an experiment, and you know, I don't mind interesting, fantastical elements to thrillers. There's some really good Korean movies out there, like The Phone, or there's another one where like this guy can talk to someone 20 years in the past to affect things. But like this one just didn't really take the concept, add thrills to it. It just sort of, it almost seemed like a weird fantasy, and it just didn't really, you know, no dig on the author, but I'm gonna give Wrong Place, Wrong Time a 1 out of 5.